Can you please identify where
Yes,
you are from?
of course. I'm Yu from Thailand. Nothing dangerous. I would like to ask Your Excellency some questions regarding the laws, as I work in the field of law. As we all may know, we are embracing AEC, the ASEAN Economic Community, in which it stipulates in the way that it promotes more economic integration. But however, as it is the international law, which each member states need to ratify those agreements. And for example, in Thailand, even though we agreed to increase the equity of legal persons, the foreign legal persons, or allowed foreign companies to do some businesses stated in the law, but in fact we haven't ratified those agreements into the internal law. So it's not really effective, and as well as standardized transparency agreed in AEC. In Thailand, many laws are still not transparent to foreigners, or not really effective, not to mention about technicalities such as driving off the illegal immigrants illegally outside the country by government officials, etc., etc. So it seems to me personally that what ASEAN is doing is just putting flowers on handcuffs, And I would like to see that glass is filled, half filled, half full, but when it's going to be filled, fully filled? Are there any organizations or reviewing bodies that are effectively dealing with these problems? Thank you.
I thank you for your question. I thank you for your question, Thailand, and I understand exactly where you are coming from. It's the differences and the gap between laws and implementation and the reality. Now, let me begin by saying that multilateral bodies try to set laws and legal frameworks. The UN tries to do that, EU tries to do that, ASEAN tries to do that. It certainly represents aspiration. Now, even at the UN level, not every country has ratified what they said they would go with, so it's not completed. Or they will sign and put in all kinds of reservations, and you say, what does it mean? You sign, but there you are. I talk about human rights because I've been following this issue myself, given my job. For instance, the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. We have countries like Yemen, Libya, a lot of countries that have signed on to the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, and they went home and totally ignored what they signed and revolution and great unhappiness and grief in the country. So, multilateral bodies set laws. ASEAN hopes to do better. We have set a legal framework, and we know that it takes time for countries to reach that. And if you look at it, we also sign agreements, free trade agreements, ASEAN different agreements. But we have different timelines for different countries so that they can fulfill it. Developed countries, quote unquote, the older ASEAN countries, have an earlier timeline. Newer countries have a slower timeline. But the difference between law and implementation is the biggest bugbear in the world, not just for ASEAN. In every region, in every country, does the law actually represent the implementation and what the aspirations are? And I would say countries that have laws and implement laws fast and observe the laws have rule of law. It is a competitive advantage. Countries that have the laws and don't implement the laws are seen to be unpredictable. They don't have the competitive advantage. But it's for each country to implement that. The one thing ASEAN doesn't quite have is, I don't think they have fully spelled out a mechanism what to do if people don't fulfill the timelines and if there's a clash. I think we still have to work towards that. We don't have a mechanism, and what sanctions do we bring in? We haven't reached that. But the fact that we have this framework and these laws spelled out there does help. You know, we have an AHRD. The West has been slamming us ever since it came out. It's not real, it's half full, you know. Because in our provision we said, we believe in all these human rights provisions, but the implementation is subject to the cultural context and the history and diversity of the country. If you don't put in that phrase, we won't get 10 countries signing on. Many of the countries will say, no, I'm not ready. So we put that in. But the fact is that we now have human rights, this declaration. And people are talking about human rights. And you can hold workshops and you introduce more people in the process. You know, I mean, I was asked, why trafficking in persons? Why only women and children? I said, actually, there's trafficking in men too. You know, but women and children are the most vulnerable. But people don't understand, you see. So I think it's good the conversation begins. It's good we've laid the rules on the table. Countries will take their time to fulfill it, and if countries know what they want, and they know that they can gain from being a rules-based economy, society, they will want to fulfill that much sooner. But I understand your frustration.
Thank you for your question. The student on the right.